Hi, I am Sam Yogi. Today is September 24th, 2025. Welcome back to the Krishnamurti Podcast. This is episode 60. In today's episode, we shall continue with the fifth talk at Ommen, the Netherlands. And we were at a point where Krishnamurti got into a concept of consistency called I must or I must not. So when that happens, which will be immediate, I shall pause and go back to the third talk where he has talked about I must and I must not. So let's begin. Krishnamurti says, when you become conscious of that not only mentally but emotionally as well, then that action of which you are conscious, aware, frees itself from the result which you are seeking. I will try to put it differently. Don't say I must not seek a result. Don't say I must not have achievement or I must not seek shelter. If you say that, you are creating another set of shelters. In the must not, there is a shelter, there is a security. So don't say that. Become aware if your action is the result of that search of the want to gain security. When you become aware in action, then action itself will show you its full significance. After all, wisdom is not a thing to be gained out of books. Okay, first let's understand this concept called I must or I must not. So, this was actually talked about not in the third talk here at Ommen, but in the fourth talk there at Alpino, Italy, where in Krishnamurti's own words, so consistency, living according to a pattern, exists as long as your life lacks richness, as long as your action is not complete. If you observe your own mind in action, you will see that you are continually trying to be consistent. You say, I must or I must not. So he is basically cutting down this consistency that I must always get up at 3:30 a.m. or 4:30 a.m. or I must not get up. So he is saying basically that is consistency. That doesn't mean I must not. For example, I'll give you the example. I'll finish recording in another 14-15 minutes because it will come close to 48 minutes before sunrise, at which point I cut short my recordings and do other chores like putting it on some social media or what have you and publishing it, which takes time, in the sense the audio file needs to be uploaded from here, the smartphone, to the Google Drive. From the Google Drive it has to be downloaded to the machine, and on the machine I have to upload it to the podcast host, And then there is something called a RSS feed, real simple syndication, which is pulled by various other streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and even YouTube. Though YouTube, it acts differently. It pulls also the graphic art from the host, and then using the graphic art, which is different for each episode, and the audio which is pulled from the recording, it creates a video and puts it under a new category called podcasts. So all that takes time. But the main point is that I must get up at certain time or within a certain window to be able to be fully awake, so that I record the podcast and I get a window of 48 minutes called Brahma Muhurta. The Muhurta, or the moment of Brahma or God or truth, which lasts 48 minutes and ends 48 minutes before sunrise. So it lasts it starts 96 minutes before sunrise. To be able to record in Hindi, which I do for Brahmagyan, which is a different topic altogether, and it is for those who follow that path, that is recorded in Hindi, because the writings that I follow are mostly in Sanskrit and Hindi. There are some in English, but I follow the writings of a preceptor called Swami Niranjan or Swami Niranjanji Maharaj, and those writings are in Hindi, and I love to talk about it also. And that is also done during the Brahma Muhurt. So we have to cut short this podcast in another 8 minutes. I just checked my watch. So coming back to what Krishnamurti is saying, he is saying I must or I must not is something which is going on in your mind. You always say I must or I must not. And he says, he goes on to talk about consistency. I repeat that this idea of consistency, I must, is born when you do not meet life wholly, completely, when you meet life through a memory, and when you are constantly following a pattern, you are but increasing the consistency of that memory. You have created the idea of consistency by your refusal to meet freely, openly, and without prejudice every experience of life. That is, you are always meeting experiences partially, and out of that arises conflict. So let's come back to the fifth talk at Ommen, the Netherlands. If you say that you are creating another set of shelters, in the must not there is a shelter, there is a security. So do not say that. Don't say I must not seek a result. Don't say I must not have achievement, or I must not seek shelter. If you say that you are creating another set of shelters, in the must not there is a shelter, there is a security. So do not say that. Become aware if your action is the result of that search, of the gain, of the want to gain security. When you become aware in action, then action itself will show you its full significance. After all, wisdom is not a thing to be gained out of books. I cannot transmit wisdom to you. Wisdom is born in the fullness of action, and you can only act fully or understand action completely when your mind and heart are free from this continual desire for a result. So if you say you must not seek an achievement or a success, you do not understand action. Whereas you will understand action with all its significance if you become aware of the cause of your action. Now, to become aware of the cause of action is not to go through self-analysis. To me, self-analysis is destructive, but to be fully conscious, to be awake, both mentally and emotionally, when you are acting, then you will know the cause of your action. When you are conscious of your action, then you will understand the full significance of your search for a result, which will of its own accord reveal its transience. What I want to show is, what I want to explain is that we should be concerned with sowing and not with its result. And the result will be right if you sow rightly. That's why Krishnamurti said here, don't say I must seek a result or I must not seek a result. Don't say I must not have achievement. So coming back to Krishnamurti, he is saying here in his own words, what I want to show is, what I want to explain is that we should be concerned with sowing, not with its result. And the result will be right if you sow rightly. Now we are concerned with the result of our sowing, and sowing here means sowing, sowing, and hence valuelessness of our action. Now we are concerned with the result of our sowing, and hence valuelessness of our action. And we do that because we are empty, because there is no sufficiency in each one of us. So we are concerned with all the results of our action. Such a mind cannot understand wisdom or the swiftness of truth. A mind that can meet all things afresh, anew, without the burden of memory. Such a mind, in its fullness, in its plentitude, is only concerned with sowing. So the talk ends here, which is followed by questions and answers given by Krishnamurti. There are many questions. As is the case with all these early talks, there is a lot of energy in the audience and also in Krishnamurti to explain. So we'll go through the first question tomorrow or in the next episode, which will be episode 61. Thank you. You have a nice day.